We are off and running with another work week. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jill Morgan from CBC in Regina.
Happy Monday to you, Jill. I'm Danny Mario at CBC Saskatoon. Your news starts right now.
Tonight, is it a safety measure or a cash grab? The City of Regina's plans for improving its red light cameras.
And concerns and murky rules around Saskatchewan's flying drones.
If you're enjoying summer, I suggest you take advantage of the next 2 days because Wednesday onwards, we're going to see a huge shift in weather. Cooler and wet weather is expected. I'll have all the details just ahead.
CBC News Saskatchewan at 5 starts right now. Plus, a motorcycle clocked going 180 kilometers per hour loses control. If you can believe it, the motorcyclist is okay, but people are expressing a ton of concern about excessive speeders in Saskatoon.
Yeah, Steve Pasqualato has that story in a moment. First, to another concern on Saskatchewan roads. They are a staple in most major cities. Red light cameras. Saskatoon has them, so does Regina. But the ones in the Queen City are mostly broken. Red light cameras were introduced in Regina in 2000, and they're showing their age. These cameras at Louvain and Dudney haven't worked for 4 years. Now, this is a busy intersection with the third highest collision rate in the whole city. So now City Council is looking at buying new digital cameras. Our Adam Hunter is live at Albert and Saskatchewan Drive, one location in the city where red light cameras are working. Adam, what's the situation at that intersection?
Danny, I'm here at one of the busiest intersections in the city right during rush hour. Albert Street and Saskatchewan Drive. It's also one of the worst for collisions. It's actually the second worst in the city over the past few years. Now, also at this intersection, west and northbound red light cameras. They look like they work, but in fact, only the northbound camera works and it only shoots one lane. So with that, the City of Regina's sparked a committee. They've issued this report on red light cameras. It'll go in front of council next week. Their recommendation is to put in new digital cameras at $40,000 a piece at high traffic areas like this one around the city. We don't know when or where that would be quite yet. We do also know that the city will administer the program. They don't want it to look like a police cash grab. I can also tell you quickly about Saskatoon. Their program for red light cameras started in 2005. They found that it's drastically reduced T-bone collisions, the most deadly collisions, at these high traffic areas. Now, they cost $230 if you get a ticket at one of these places. And even though Regina's cameras aren't working at full capacity, they haven't been since 2010, the city still gave out $2,300 in tickets last year, bringing in about $500,000, even more than $500,000. So if you do the math, new cameras at important intersections, digital cameras, the city could be looking at bringing in about $1 million very easily. Danny.
Thanks for breaking this down for us, Adam. That's the CBC's Adam Hunter in Regina. And we do want to hear from you on this. Are red light cameras a cash grab, or do they really improve safety on the roads? You can tweet Jill and me or weigh in on our Facebook pages, and you can take our web poll at cbc.ca/sask. We'll air your thoughts coming up at 5:50. And now for another call to drivers, this one to slow down. In Saskatoon, a motorcycle was clocked going 180 kilometers per hour. Now, it lost control and ended up in a fiery crash. Police say speeding is a big problem and enforcing limits is a challenge. But as the CBC's Steve Pasqualato reports, they're hoping some new, tougher measures will help.
This is where it all ended, in the middle of Clarence Avenue South. A few broken parts are all that's left at the scene. A motorcyclist was speeding eastbound on Circle Drive Saturday just after 5 o'clock. He lost control and crashed into a light standard. The motorcycle started on fire.
This young man is very, very lucky that this collision did not result in serious injury or death.
Police say the 21-year-old was clocked going 180 kilometers an hour, twice the speed limit. Just a few weeks ago, a car was stopped going 200 kilometers an hour. The city says the number of speeding tickets handed out this year is in the usual range. Drivers we talk to say they're dealing with speeders nearly every day.
I think the speeding's terrible. I live out of town, and the way people drive in the city is just ridiculous.
People are doing 100 or 110 for sure. Most people. Just to keep up, you have to do 100 in a 90 zone. people actually honking at you because you're doing 90 and they want to do 100 and 120. It's not right.
Saskatoon City Police say here along Circle Drive is where many motorists exceed the 90-kilometer-an-hour speed limit. They're hoping new measures by the province gets drivers to slow down.
It's a concern because it's difficult for us to conduct traffic stops and enforce speed limits along Circle Drive. It becomes an officer safety issue.
The new penalties for excessive speeding, which kicked in June, include 7-day vehicle seizures. So far, 31 people in the province have been caught going more than 50 kilometers over the limit.
It looks like a Jeep will be taken Idlewild.
Saskatoon police say they're trying to keep a handle on speeding. It's the only city in the province that uses an airplane to catch fast drivers. And later this fall, photo radar is coming to several spots along Circle Drive. Steve Pasqualato, CBC News, Saskatoon.
And speaking of planes, police are investigating not one, but 2 incidents of people pointing lasers at aircrafts in Regina. A plane was landing late last night at the city's airport when police say someone shone a laser light into the cockpit. Police tracked down the light to a group of young people in the city's south end. They say one of the boys had a laser pointer. A second plane was targeted a few hours later, but no culprit was caught. It's a federal offense to shine a bright light at an aircraft while it's flying, and the maximum sentence for adults is a $100,000 fine and up to 5 years in prison. A booming hobby has more people in Saskatchewan taking to the skies, and you don't need a pilot's license to drive these crafts. Drones, or unmanned aerial vehicles, are more accessible and cheaper than ever, but they're also creating concerns across the country about safety and privacy. CBC's Peter Mills has more.
Nick Biblo loves the latest technology. An avid photographer on the ground,
you can add on the gimbal, which holds the camera steady.
Biblo's newest hobby is allowing him to capture stunning images like these.
People love them. Yeah, lots of shares and stuff, and it's good. I don't know. I don't do it for profit or anything, so it's good to see that people like it. For photography, you can get to a completely different angle, right? Like I can't go up there without renting a plane, and even then they can't fly that low.
This one actually is height limited.
The UAV craze is also hitting Regina.
Basically take it out of the back of your truck.
Derek Kanak, owner of Remote Control Hobbies, says drone sales are taking off.
At first it'd be 1 person a week. The next it would be 2 people a week, and then the week after it's 3, 4, 5, 10. Just keeps growing.
But you really need also to understand how to fly it in manual mode. So
the popularity has also spread.
They're readily accessible.
Now real estate agents, city developers, police and firefighters are all using drones.
You instantaneously have access to video that you're doing, and some people are very good with it, other people are not good with it at all.
A growing concern now? Drones flying near airports. Videos like this one in Vancouver are a major concern for Transport Canada.
So at this point I can control where it is horizontally.
While the Saskatoon airport says it hasn't had any problems yet, it's aware of the danger.
You don't want to fly over top of people. You don't want to fly really over top of roadways and be distracting people. Don't be peering into people's backyards. So use some common sense and think of the consequences of what would happen if something system fails.
Drone operators only need a special flight certificate if used commercially. Last year, Transport Canada issued 945 certificates. That's up from only 155 3 years ago. Biblo maintains he'll continue to do this for fun, but he's concerned about the future of these flights.
Everybody's getting into it. It's fairly cheap now, and I feel like that's going to affect rules and regulations in the future for a lot of users, and a few bad people making poor choices might cause some problems for everyone else.
For hobbyists, the images these drones produce are what make it so exciting. But as regulations start to catch up to the technology, an uncertain future of where and how you can fly. One thing is for sure, you can expect more aerial views in the land of living skies. Peter Mills, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Everything else is common sense.
Practicing with the Blue Jays. I'm Tori Gillis in Regina, where a few kids here got a chance to do a baseball camp with some Blue Jays stars. That story coming up on CBC News, Saskatchewan.
Well, they've all spent years in Canada's military, and now they're looking into life and work after their service. Based in Business is a week-long business boot camp underway at the University of Regina. Now, it aims to teach retired servicemen and women the ins and outs of starting their own business, from how to create and hone a business plan to the best ways to promote their brands through social media. Some already have established businesses and are looking to take the next step. Others are looking to make their idea into a reality.
I need to exude that passion to other people. When that happens, then I can start looking for financing. Then I can start looking for properties and making sort of the dream come to fruition.
Based in Business is a week-long program for former military members from across Canada. 4 Prairie basketball players have a lot to be proud of today.
Team Saskatoon showed that they were here to play.
This past weekend in Chicago, Team Saskatoon won the title of #1 in the Americas for 3-on-3 basketball. The team beat out Denver 18-17 at the FIBA World Tour Chicago Masters. Michael Linklater is on the team. He's ranked as the #1 player for 3-on-3 basketball in all of Canada. And he says his team is ready to win the World Championship in Tokyo this fall.
We're really confident with our chances. We're continuing to stay focused, and we're going to keep training.
Now, the team also walked away with fatter wallets. The winning team took home $10,000.
Great crew for all their work today.
Kids in Regina are getting the chance to train with major league heroes like Roberto Alomar. We'll tell you why coming up. And a lot of sun to brighten up the start of this week. Farah's forecast is just ahead.
Welcome back. Some kids are getting their version of spring training today in Regina and are probably a little bit starry-eyed. Blue Jays stars hit the field with young ball players, including a Jays Hall of Famer. CBC's Tori Gillis has that story.
Now catch the ball!
What's Lloyd Mosby doing in Regina? A little ball, of course, with Saskatchewan kids.
What a coach. Ha-ha! The best coach in the land.
At a baseball camp that comes with some of the Blue Jays' best.
Yeah, it's a lot different coming from a major leaguer rather than your coach.
Go!
Jays star and Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar wants to give back. His dad was a major leaguer too, so as a kid he learned these skills from the best.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to learn from the pros, and now I'm passing along everything that I learned. I'm passing along to the youth here in Canada.
It's a lot of the basics you might learn at any camp, but things are a little different when your catching partner has 2 World Series championships under his belt.
Carter Warkentine and his brother are here from Swift Current. Carter got to play catch with Alomar. He was worried he might throw it over his head.
There was 13 guys and I don't really know anyone. So he's like, who doesn't have a partner? I said me, so it was fun. He's funny.
Prepare yourself to succeed, even though you know you're going to fail.
The big guys may sound a little tough on the young players, but they want them to know that it takes hard work to hit it big.
It's all about putting a smile on their faces and giving them hopes in life that if we made it to the big league, they can do the same thing.
And if these kids are any proof, that message is getting through. Tori Gillis, CBC News, Regina.
Yeah, I think I'd be the one at the T-ball station. It is a nice day for a ball game for sure. 25 degrees still in Regina, 29 in Saskatoon. Here's a live look outside from our CBC weather cam in the Bridge City. Let's see how long the nice temperatures are sticking around. Farah Singh joins us now. How are things looking, Farah?
The good news is that you have the next 24 hours to enjoy temperatures with heat and humidity, and then as we head into the latter half of the week, we're in for a cool down, a bit of a role reversal. We have high heat and humidity, as you can see here, temperatures in the high 20s to mid 20s in the west, and temperatures still in the low 20s in the east, but that's going to change as we head midweek. Let's talk a little bit about today's high in Saskatoon. 29 was your high. Our average is 24. We didn't break any records. In order to do that, we need to be about 35. That record was set in 1991, but it was still hot and humid. But here's what's happening. We're protected right now with high pressure. You can see very little cloud cover over southern Saskatchewan. There's a low pressure system over the Great Lakes, and there's a cold front that's sweeping through, and that is what's going to be giving us our cool down as well as active weather. Here's the forecast models. This is going to mean for some thundershower activity across the foothills for Alberta tomorrow afternoon. And then late day, it will take its turn in west central Saskatchewan. We'll take a closer look at this model just to give you an idea of the timing of this storm. Some of these cells may be severe in nature, so what that means, be on the lookout for sizable hail, gusty winds, locally heavy rain. Again, this is going to approach, say, Saskatoon tomorrow night and continue throughout the evening and overnight. So nocturnal thunder showers with some pretty potent cells. Be on the lookout for that. We're going to stay clear in Regina for Tuesday, but by Wednesday, as this cold front continues to sweep south, we're going to see the potential for active weather for you in Regina on Wednesday. In terms of our temperatures, take a look. This is us right here. Here's Saskatchewan, and this is us in the nice oranges and the bright yellows. But take a look at this cool Arctic air as it slides south. This is going to mean cooler air for your Wednesday onwards. So wet, windy, and cooler for midweek. I want to draw out this graph for you really quickly to show you what our minimum temperature will be for a daytime high on the 24th, forecasting highs around 15 degrees. That's almost a 20-degree drop in temperatures. Here's a 3-day look at your forecast for Saskatoon. 28 tomorrow, 22 for Wednesday, so that cold front is very sharp, and then staying in the ballpark of the mid-teens onwards. It's the same for you, Regina. Everyone wants to know, though, does this mean that summer is over and we're not going to see a warm-up? Well, you'll have to stick around. I'll have those details coming up.
So Facebook is testing a new tag to clear up some confusion over satirical news. We've all seen those people on our feeds that post them with a great deal of outrage when it comes to satirical news headlines, like places like The Onion, even CBC's This Is That, and some people might be taking them a little bit too seriously.
In fact, Danny, so many people on Facebook have reported being duped that Facebook is now taking action, as you mentioned, creating this tag for certain stories so people won't be fooled by headlines that are really just meant to be funny or ironic. That itself has lit up a lot of opinion on social media, of course. Corb says now that Facebook is introducing this new satire tag, people are finally getting what they've always wanted, protection from themselves. Laura says, I feel like all the fun is being ripped from the universe. #depressed. James doesn't like it either. This is sad. People who comment on satire sites not knowing they are satire are my favorite part about satire sites. Shayna Jamie Murray, though, points out, I think the fake news is getting out of hand and can actually be dangerous. Last week, a site, not The Onion, put up a story about a New York City cop causing the death of an infant. People were outraged and ready to strike back. This is not funny stuff. Good point, Shayna. There is a blog called Literally Unbelievable that rounds up all of those reactions from people who believe what they read on websites like The Onion.
Yeah, I know CBC's satire radio show This Is That will likely take a hit with the fact that there's this hashtag out now. Now that tag is being tested. We'll see if it actually sticks around. Thanks a lot, Jill.
Well, thanks, Danny.
We'll be right back.
The Riders mark 4 in a row. Saturday's winning game against the Alouettes coming up in sports.
Welcome back. Glenn Reed joins us now from the Regina newsroom with a look at sports. Glenn, what's up?
Well, Danny, nobody remembers what they looked like at the end of the season. They just add up the wins. The Riders recorded their 4th straight win Saturday night, surviving a 16-11 victory over the visiting Alouettes.
You know what? We're winning, and we're beating some pretty good teams. So at the end of the day, as long as we win games, no matter how you win it, I think our day will come where we, statistically fill up the stat sheet. But at the end of the day, if we win, then I'm happy.
It might be a bit of a stretch to suggest the Alouettes are a pretty good team, but they did give the Riders everything they could handle Saturday. Chris Milo's field goal miss late in the 4th went 110 yards the other way, making this game way more interesting than it should have been. Milo would redeem himself on another opportunity later, but the Riders' kicker is not exactly having a banner season. His percentage ranks near the bottom in the CFL.
It's just tough, when you know you can make it, and it's just sometimes just things don't go your way, and that's the kind of season I've been having this year. And I have full confidence in myself, and I know that I can get the job done. I did last year and did years previous than that.
We all have something that we have to go through, so that's a part of his, his mental test and his mental toughness that he'll have to work on as we move forward.
Despite the win streak, the offense is not immune to criticism either. Rob Baggs' touchdown in the fourth was not only his first of the season, but the first major by the Riders' offense in 11 quarters.
You always want to score. You always want to score every time you touch the ball, but the bigger thing is we're really focused on ball security, and I think that's served us really well so far.
I think we're okay. I mean, as long as our defense gives us a chance and we move the ball, score when we have to, then we're going to put ourselves in a position to win ball games.
We had some sparks there. We just had to turn those sparks into a flame and eventually into a fire.
But nobody is hotter than John Chick. 3 more sacks by the Riders' defensive end. He now has 12. He has already surpassed his 2009 total when he was the Defensive Player of the Year in the CFL.
Monster. He's out this world, man. He's a monster.
Right now, my technique, pass rushes are on point, and I don't know that they always haven't been, but I feel like they are. And still, when I'm watching film, I feel like there's a lot that I'm leaving out there. So I know there's room for improvement.
Which is a scary thought for quarterbacks across the CFL. Next up, BC.
There's always things that you're going to need to be able to fix, whether you win by 20 points, 30 points, or 5 points. That's a part of football, and one week is always different from the next.
And the Riders will be in Vancouver on Sunday night, Danny. We'll have more on the Riders coming up in the next hour.
Sounds good, Glenn. And you know what? I know you're probably sick about talking about it, but Farah, I'd like to see her in one of those Rider jerseys in front of the green screen. I don't think it would go over very well. No, we'll see you again at We'll see you at 6:20. And just after the break, another province is celebrating Saskatchewan. Where and why the heck they do that? Just ahead. Welcome back. They've made people all over the world belt out the words Regina, Saskatchewan at music venues. And now the Queen City's big indie band Rah Rah will be rocking out on the East Coast. Rah Rah is representing the province during Saskatchewan Week in Prince Albert Island. Confused yet? PEI is currently celebrating the 150th anniversary of the Charlottetown Conference. The 70-day festival features a special week for each province in Canada, and now it's Saskatchewan's turn, with plenty of other musical acts, artists, and comedians from this province performing there. The band says they couldn't be prouder to carry a little bit of home wherever they go.
I mean, we have that one song in particular, the duet for Emmylou and the Grievous Angel, that has the big chorus about Regina, Saskatchewan, that seems to have resonated with, like you say, people that have never even been here or probably never even heard of it before. So that's kind of cool.
Rah Rah will hit the stage on Thursday. Now, a whole week of Sask and then the big celebration of Founders Week with the tall ships heading into port there in PEI.
And Founders Week is more like Founders Weeks, 2 weeks of partying set aside for that. Love that PEI is doing it. Love that Rah Rah is there representing Regina, Saskatchewan. Thanks so much, Danny.
You're welcome.